talking about how the gut connects to our body, the brain, and the immune system, and some really powerful things. So, actually, I should probably introduce myself. I'm Dr. Craig Rolls, Green Valley Chiropractic Wellness Center. I'm a board-certified chiropractic internist and clinical nutritionist. So we like to teach because we like to have you understand how the body works, and I think there's a big disconnect between health and understanding. And the more you truly understand the body, the more it helps you really understand how vital it is to eat healthy food, to do the things we already know what to do. And when we do those things, it makes such a radical change in the body. So I like to kind of give you a rear scenes view of what's happening in the background, so that it just makes more sense and understanding. So 30 years ago, when they talked about the gut was really a place for what? What's the gut for? Large intestine, right? Does one pretty common thing. Yeah, it's our fat, right? But 30 years ago, it only really thought it had really one primary function. What do you think that would be?
Digestion.
Just hold your food until you get ready to get rid of it. And really what it does, it actually pulls the water out of that food so your body can use that, and then you're left with the feces. But that was 30 years ago. Now we know it's 80% of the immune system and a significant amount of your brain. And that actually say the brain really starts in the gut. A thing called neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are little chemicals in your brain that allow your brain to work and actually communicate, so you don't get Alzheimer's, so you don't get dementia, so you can keep your mind really clear and focused. These little neurotransmitters are working behind the scenes also. The majority of those are all made in the gut. So you don't have a healthy gut, it affects your brain, it affects your immune system. So that's key, and it can lead to some serious problems. It can lead to autoimmune disease, which we've talked about, allergies, diabetes, acne, heart disease, obesity, depression, anxiety. So if you've ever dealt with any of these symptoms or conditions, or you have a friend or loved one who have one of these conditions, let's say diabetes. Let's say you or a friend has diabetes. What's the routine in our culture? What does a diabetic do? Insulin, or maybe metformin, some kind of drug, right? For the purpose of trying to control the blood sugar, right? But we know that diabetes is not a deficiency of the drug. It's a lifestyle issue. And so when you learn about the gut and how important it is, it can be one of the key elements of getting a person to get off their diabetic meds. Now, that diabetic person that's dealing with an issue, and he's taking those drugs. Let's say we talk about just a normal American who's going to the doctor in good faith, getting medications in good faith, and getting that checkup exam with the doctor, right? And so what will they do to check him? They run a blood test, right? Let's see what your blood sugars look like, which is important to do. But what they will communicate to that person is, oh, your blood sugars look good, and you're on insulin, so you're good. Now, they may talk a little bit about diet. Does anybody have an experience with themselves or with a friend about in the area of diabetes and how much you've been instructed as far as diet, yes or no? What do you think, how much education gets out there for people? Not very much. Because most doctors, most patients in fact, are okay taking that pill and just assuming that's going to be fine for them. But then diabetes is a huge problem because diabetes has consequences. One of the most significant problems with diabetes is the loss of circulation. A couple classes ago we talked about the capillaries, how the blood system works. And what happens in diabetes is that capillary system starts to become less effective, actually starts to shrink. And you start to lose the perfusion of oxygen, of nutrients into your body. And that's what happens in diabetes oftentimes. So the circulation decreases. So let's say you have an arm, it depends upon what to live. Nutrients, blood, right? Now all of a sudden you start to have blood not go to your arm, what's going to happen to your arm?
Atrophy and die.
You may die. Exactly. What happens in diabetes?
Amputation.
Amputation. People lose an arm, people lose a leg, people lose a kidney, people lose an eye. This is normal on controlled diabetics, where they're going to their doctor, appointment to appointment, checking their blood tests, they're taking their drugs, and they say, okay, you're fine, numbers look good. They lose their arms, they lose their kidneys, lose their eyes, as a normal consequence of diabetes. That's not okay. It's not okay in my book. What happens to the person that's able to get their blood sugars under control and not take those medications? They're off the list. They're no longer diabetic. They don't get the arms. They don't get the eyes losing. They don't get the loss of kidney. It just doesn't happen. Because it all comes primarily from that high level of sugar that's uncontrolled. That's what kills the circulation, a large part of it. So my point is I like to teach because the more we understand about what's possible in the body, I mean, that's number one. Number two is when you do something that you can feel in your body that's radically different. That's number two. You get the knowledge, then you get the experience, and then game over. It's kind of hard to go back to that whole system that we have in America called medicine. It's hard to go back. And so obviously you still use your doctors, but you become an inquisitive patient. You become a patient who asks questions. Maybe do even a little bit of research, but you just don't accept that doctor's opinion as, and even a second or third opinion, you're still dealing in the medical circle. So you have to really do your best to learn, and that's why we teach. So it's important to know that when you have those types of conditions, oftentimes you can go back all the way to the gut. So let's take a look at that. So the gut itself, a healthy gut, it's important to know, is like a little chemical factory. It's like the coolest thing. So this right here is a representation of a healthy gut. Okay, so inside the gut, think about it just like a tube. But on the lining of that tube is a mucus, a very thick mucus on the tube, like a gelatinous mass. Inside that mucus, right, are thousands of different chemicals being made. The neurotransmitters I talked about for the brain, the cells for the immune system, detoxification elements, nutrients. It helps to reduce inflammation and creates healthy skin. So this is all happening in a healthy gut. So what can destroy a healthy gut? What destroys life in our society? Okay, let's do this. 150 years ago, heart disease did not exist. Why? Didn't exist, wasn't on the map. Now it's the number one killer. 150 years ago, it did not exist. Why? What's different in our culture today than 150 years ago? Food, right? Came out of the ground, people ate it, right when they picked it, right? That may seem simple, but it's not as huge. But also did not exist 150 years ago in reference to food. Food was not commercialized 150 years ago. You couldn't get a box of cereal. It wasn't available, it wasn't made. So all those processed foods didn't exist. So the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which is SAD, is 62% processed foods, 28% animal foods, and 10% fruits and vegetables. 5% which are French fries and potato chips. Only 5% of the standard American diet are things that we really consider to bring life to the body. Vegetables, fruits, nuts and seeds. So that's what destroys a healthy gut. What destroys a healthy gut? Sugars, excess fruit, grains, refined foods especially. And so what happens to the gut is that nice thick membrane, or the gelatinous material inside the gut, which is making all these chemicals, starts to get more narrow, starts to thin. And as it gets thin, we lose the gut lining. So what are we doing? We're making less chemicals. Fewer numbers of neurotransmitters, our brain's not as alert. Fewer numbers of immune cells, so our immune system's not as effective. And remember, the immune system is not just for infections, but it's also for controlling any kind of foreign substance that comes into the body. So if you have a foreign substance that comes in the body, your body can't deal with it. You may have an allergic response, so that's very common. The immune system starts to get weak. Of course, the illnesses can be prolonged. But this is what happens when you lose that gut lining. Now, as it continues to go, okay, then what happens? Then you start to break free in that gut. Have you ever heard the term leaky gut? So leaky gut is when no longer do you have, that tube is no longer solid. When it's solid, what's the tube? Think about it. Okay, so it's inside your abdomen, right? And so you have this space outside that the tube is not part of, but that tube is kind of protecting you in a way, because it's keeping the food inside the system, inside the GI system, digestive system. But as it becomes more thin and more narrow due to sugars and fats and refined foods, not fats, but sugars and refined foods, you actually start to get these little breakaways. You actually start to lose the integrity of the lining. It actually breaks open. And then chemicals start to leak out through the gut. That's called leaky gut. So leaky gut is something when you have that nice thick membrane, it starts to get more narrow, and so then the different cells that kind of keep it all intact start to break free, and you get these open spots. And that's what this represents. Causing inflammation, causing brain fog, causing pain, causing allergies. Because what happens, the stuff inside the gut is supposed to be where? In the gut. It's not supposed to be free and flowing through the bloodstream. But if you get leaky, it starts leaking out. Then what happens? Well, now you have substances in places they're not supposed to be. So what part of your body is going to call into action? Your immune system. Because the immune system is the one that fights any kind of foreign debris. So that can increase, again, allergic response and inflammation in the body. And you're also manufacturing less immune system materials. And that's how autoimmunity can develop from a gut problem, because you lose the cells for the immune system, plus you overstress that immune system. I mean, think about it. I mean, typical American diet, every day, in and out. 62% processed foods, sugars, refined breads, every day. So the gut can't deal with that. It can't. Why do you think we have obesity and diabetes that are rampant? And it continues to climb. It's not a secret recipe. It's just very common sense, if you understand it. So we have this going on. Now, what happens inside the gut, then at that point in time, you're already creating symptoms. So gas and bloating, loose stools, acid reflux, weight gain, irritable bowel, anxiety, depression, joint pain, skin conditions, all those will almost undoubtedly occur as you continue to destroy this gut of yours. Now, if it continues on and becomes quite chronic, well, let's back up one thing. Now, what's inside the gut? What's supposed to be inside the gut that's very healthy?
Acid.
In the gut. Organisms, bacteria, viruses. Okay? So they're supposed to be there in high volume. In fact, inside your gut are twice the amount of organisms in your gut than the entire cells of your human body. Twice the number. That's huge. But the good guys. So as you start to lose the gut, you start to get an increase of the bad guys. And those are things like yeast that cause yeast problems, or E. coli, bad bacteria inside your gut, causing problems inside your gut. Those bacteria are very, very smart, and if they're there for a long period of time, they learn how to take camp. They simply pitch up a tent and hang out. Those are called biofilms. A biofilm is a film, a substance, that's produced by the bacteria to keep it hidden from the immune system. Come out at night, cause havoc, come back in again. So these are biofilms, and biofilms look like this. On that lining, which is now destroyed, you have the leaky gut going on. We also have all these bacteria and viruses that are inside this biofilm, protecting itself from the immune system. And so you can take drugs, you can take herbs, you can take all these different things to kill the viruses or to kill the bacteria and not have any real success. So that's usually what's going on when you have a really chronic yeast or bacterial imbalance, of dysbiosis in your gut that's just not healing. Usually you have biofilms. And so what you have to do is then you have to work on taking enzymes to break apart that biofilm, which then exposes them so they can't be killed. But that's part of the process of healing. So all this starts up here. A couple classes back, we talked about the importance of how the body works and how it builds materials, how it makes itself really work. Where does it start? We talked about it tonight already. Food, right? So let's walk through that process very simply, because this is really important to understand. So you put food in your mouth, what happens? What's the end goal of that food? What's that food trying to do for you by the time it's done?
Nutrition, energy.
Exactly. Give you nutrients, minerals, vitamins, phytochemicals, protein, all these different elements. So your body can use those for life. Everything. Your brain, eyes, kidney, everything, right? And so, but if you put it in your mouth, you say you eat a carrot, the whole carrot just doesn't go into your bloodstream. You can't. The body can't use that, right? So what's the body have to do?
Break it down.
It has to break it down. And that's the entire process at the start from here down to your gut. It has to break it down. If that's not working, your gut's not working. So it starts with the mouth. There's enzymes in there will start to break down that food. Also chewing, obviously. Gets down your stomach. What's inside your stomach will start that process in a very radical way, powerful way.
Acids.
Acid, exactly. There should be enough acid where the pH of your stomach should be 2.0. That's so much acid that it'll melt a penny or a nickel inside your stomach. It just melts it. That's a properly functioning stomach. And what's it doing? Why is it doing that? It's taking that carrot, okay, or that broccoli, whatever you have in your mouth, and it's dissolving it, bringing it down to a liquid form. It's really what it does. And it's called chyme, but it's a liquid form. And so it's trying to break it down smaller and smaller and smaller. That's just really what all I want you to do is really think about it, is from big to small. And so then it comes into the area of your pancreas. So here's your stomach, acid and enzymes, right? In your pancreas, more enzymes. What's that doing? More, small, make it smaller, make it smaller. And then your liver. The liver is a detoxifier. So in that food, if there's any toxins in that food, it can help to process that, get it out of there. And the gallbladder, what's the gallbladder doing? Oils. It's all part of the digestive process. Because the oils are a little bit different. They take different materials to break those down. Are oils good or bad?
Good.
Really good, okay? As long as they're not heated or altered in some way. So the gallbladder breaks down your oils, beets are really, really high in that. They love the gallbladder, and that breaks it down. So that's called emulsification, or just the, again, from big to small. It's just that, in this case, it's an oil molecule from big to small. And for what purpose? So it can get into the blood, so it can be used as a nutrient, right? So all this stuff, the blood, this is an amazing system. So all these organs we talked about now have blood vessels, and most of this is actually in the small intestine, large intestine, and all these blood vessels are attached to these organs. And so as they get small enough, like an amino acid, like a protein, has several amino acids, when it breaks down into a single amino acid, then the body can capture it from the gut, take it into the bloodstream. Then where does it go? Wherever it's needed. And an amino acid is a building block, so it can go to your eyes, help to keep you from getting glaucoma. You can go to your heart, you can go to your stomach, you can go to your toe. So it's all about feeding the body. But if you can't get it small enough, you can't get it out, can't do that. So you have to have that working properly. So a really healthy system then will start to leave what inside the gut? Very, very small elements that are not destroying the gut, but building the gut. And actually they're supplying nutrients for the bacteria, the good bacteria that are already in your gut. So it creates this really healthy lining inside the gut. So this process typically doesn't start to occur until we start to have problems in the stomach and the liver and the upper digestive system, which is so much affected by standard American diet. So that's really key. So when we do work to help the body work better, this is the key area where we work on first. Because we have to get your digestive system working really well first to be able to get the gut to work properly, and the rest of your body, in fact, for that. So that's really important. So when we are having problems with the gut, it's important to know what can destroy the gut. So again, what's the most highest level of organisms in the gut? They're bacteria and viruses, right? So what will kill a bacteria and a virus? We know this standard American diet will create a problem, create an overabundance of bad bacteria. Well, what else can kill bacteria?
Antibiotics.
Exactly. So antibiotics can wipe out your entire gut in one
One pill.
10-day, one pill or one 10-day dose, right? You wipe them all out. And I did some research for you guys today because I talked about in the last class about the appendix. Because we talked about the appendix and how it's always been thought of as a organ that's not necessary. Which is kind of arrogant, I think, because like, why is God going to make an organ that you don't really need? Usually it's our ignorance, not God's ignorance, of the organ that we just don't understand. It's pretty interesting. So the appendix, which we kind of thought wasn't really important for much of anything, can actually reboot your gut. So you wipe out all those organisms out, right? But there's a whole health of organisms still in your cecum right by the appendix. And so once that period of the antibiotics are gone, and you're eating healthy, and you're taking some probiotics and kind of getting that body working properly again, the appendix can actually reboot the gut again. Powerful. Yeah. So if you don't have an appendix, not available, however, you can still be healthy. But that's what it does. So pretty amazing, isn't it? And when I heard that, I was like, you have a kid, that's really cool. So other things that can cause problems in the gut include alcohol, sugar, and acids, toxins, stress, low fiber, and refined foods. Why do antacids cause a problem in the gut?
Changes the acid balance.
Changes your pH.
What?
Makes it
What part of your body? What organ?
stomach.
Stomach. And what's the pH supposed to be in the stomach?
2.0.
2.0, which is highly acidic, right? And antacid does what?
Makes it
You
higher.
raise
It
your
makes it
pH.
more alkaline.
Yep. And so if you have say a pH of 6 or maybe 7 in your stomach, which is supposed to be 2, you no longer have the stomach's ability to turn that stuff into liquid. You can't do it. So what happens inside your stomach?
Are you not digesting right?
Exactly. The food just doesn't break down. So if the food can't break down, where does it go? Nowhere.
In there.
Stays there.
You can stay. You ever have that? Ooh.
Yeah.
You ever feel like that?
Ferments in your
Yeah.
stomach.
And then you get the burn, and you say the worst words, which are, "Oh, I have an acid stomach." Well, duh. You're supposed to have an acid stomach. But what you're describing is something different, actually. You're describing fermentation acid in your stomach. That's what burns, not the actual stomach acid. Because stomach acid is supposed to burn, not you, but the foods that you break down or bring in your body. So one of the first things we do in helping to cure, or help not cure, but help to the stomach to work better and perhaps turn around a acid stomach is to give more acid, not less acid. So it's really not really an acid stomach. It's just a fermentation symptom from the stomach not working from not enough acid. So as long as your stomach's healthy enough, we can simply add acid to the stomach, get it working better. So that's how we do with that. So, so how do you find out if you have a leaky gut? You actually can test. In the clinic here, we do functional medicine tests. We do functional medicine analysis of the gut. Pretty simple, actually. Part of it is simply just palpating the gut. If you can push in your gut pretty hard and you don't feel sensitivity, there's a good chance you may not have much inflammation in your gut. But if you push on your gut and it hurts, you got some inflammation there. And likelihood you probably have some what we call dysbiosis. What's dysbiosis mean? Anybody know what that is?
No.
Dysbiosis is an imbalance of the organisms inside your gut. So usually too many bad bacteria, too many yeast. Okay. So if it's really tender to the touch, most likely you have some dysbiosis going on. Okay. Now you can also do blood tests. You can also do stool tests, the different tests you do here in the clinic to evaluate leaky gut or progressing towards biofilms. So then you know more. But in all situations, when we treat that condition, we always start with purification. Why? Because you have to have a healthy system that's breaking down all those foods. I mean, think about it. Let's say you're doing this probiotic for your colon, because you hear it's good for you. But you're eating 62% processed foods and 28% animal foods, and you have an acid stomach. How much benefit are you going to get from those probiotics? They're good. You probably will get some benefit, but you're continuing to perpetuate the problem. Now, I believe that good health is about understanding what caused the problem in the first place, helping you do your best to remove that, from your life, and then try to create a new lifestyle that can support this new system. And that's another reason why I love purification, is because when you do purify and you go through the purification process, you can feel the difference. And when you start to feel the difference, then it really starts to make sense. So, this is something that I'll do again, and do again, and again. Not purification, but eating well. Okay. So, we also can do breath tests, okay, to evaluate leaky gut. So the solution is purification. Now, weed and feed is also something we do for the gut. And we typically don't do that until we've done purification first, because we want to get that whole digestive system working better. And quite honestly, by the end of purification, a person feels so much better, sometimes they don't need to work on the gut. It just depends. But if it's more of an imbalance in the gut and that continues, then we do what we call a gut protocol. And this is how that works. So we got bad guys inside the gut, right? So what do we want to do with the bad guys?
Get rid of them.
We want to kill them, right? So there's drugs for that, but there's also herbs for that. So we recommend specific herbs to kill those bugs, right? But this is also where purification comes in. If you start killing all those bugs, what do you really need and want? If you have a whole bunch of junk inside your body, where's it going to go? You want it to get out of your body, right? So it's very important that all the channels for release all that stuff are open. That you're peeing well, you're pooping well, and your skin's working, your liver's working. That's called detoxification. So if that system's clogged up and not working well, you kill it. That's why a person go on a gut protocol. Maybe take some herbs and some garlic or some different things to kill those bugs, right? But their system's not really working to eliminate that out of the body well, and so they have no place to go. So you can actually have more symptoms because you're killing off all these bugs, okay? So you really want to get those systems working well. So again, purification is really key. So that's called the weed part of this program. So we use the herbs to kill the bugs. So that's like, the great analogy is like a garden. So we're going to say the gut's been in a SAD program, standard American diet, for 20 years, and digestive system not working well. And it's kind of like that farmer having that field that he's just like going to let go for 20 years. So when he goes out to the field, what's he see?
Weeds.
Lots of weeds, lots of hard dirt, just not tended. So if he were to take and throw out a bunch of seeds, what would happen? Nothing. So if you have a gut that's been destroyed by the standard American diet for 20 years, and you take a probiotic, which is a seed, it's probably not going to do a whole lot. What do you have to do first? What does that farmer have to do?
Get the soil
Lay down.
out.
He has to get the weeds out, he's got to till the soil, he's got to get that earth really looking good, right? He's got to lay the groundwork for that. So to lay that groundwork, what you do in the body, okay, is you provide foods, mostly actually fiber for the gut, which helps to clean up that soil, okay? So you're taking a lot of prebiotics, inulin, things like that, okay? Or lots of vegetables will do it too. Vegetables do what? High fiber. Think about it this way. Your gut's kind of like all messed up, got this lot of weeds, a lot of hardy ground. And so now you're just overloading your body full of vegetables. You just want to go vegan for a month, whatever, and you're just overloading the body full of vegetables, right? So think about what's happening inside the gut. So up to this time, you've been on cheese and sugar and cheesecake and McDonald's, and that's how you live, right? And so the gut now is probably leaky, right? And you use the farm example, dried soil and weeds. So that's what we're dealing with. So now we're shoving vegetables down through this pipe, right? And what are the vegetables doing? It's high fiber. So it's kind of like Roto-Rooter. It's kind of like cleaning up the house as it goes down through. And also, there's muscles that are part of the gut. There's a thing called peristalsis, which is like it's like a wave of muscle contraction. That's what pushes the food through. And so if you have high fiber, see if you have low fiber, let's say you have McDonald's, and then you have Carl's Jr., and you have French fries, that stuff has no fiber, and so the muscles of the wall, they get tired because they don't exercise. It's like any muscle, and so it just doesn't, it gets flaccid, it gets kind of loose. You really can't move food very well. So those vegetables now are coming through, so they're actually strengthening, they're exercising the muscles of your gut. So you're creating more, it's like tending that soil. You're tending that soil. You're breaking apart the hard soil. You're getting that ground just softer. That's what you're doing by doing all that fiber. Okay? And also during that time, you're just laying the foundation. Then you take the herbs for killing those bugs, and you already have the systems open for getting the bugs out of your body. And then you do what? What's the farmer do then? Once they toil the soil, then they plant the seed. And then your probiotics will work. And you can do them at the same time. You can't just do the seed and not take care of the house. You have to really take care of the house, okay? And that's why in the work that we do in functional medicine, a lot of docs, when they do functional medicine, will focus on diet, and it's very important to them. But there's a difference between the diet and the lifestyle. In my office, it really helped, and I really push this really hard. You want to make enough changes in your body so you feel the change, so you embrace a new way of living. And that's the food. I firmly believe that chasing health is very unsuccessful when you chase it with pills. When you chase health, it's very unsuccessful if you just forget about what you're putting inside your mouth. The food is just key, really is key. And so Dr. Furman, one of the doctors I love to refer to, has just great ideas on this, where you just simply, every meal needs to be a large salad. Every meal is a large salad. So I sit down and make my salad, make my meal. I'm putting greens down first, typically. Whatever vegetables I have in the fridge, red peppers, green peppers, cucumbers, carrots, whatever. Then I'll put some beans on top of that and maybe some seeds. Now, if I'm in the mood for adding meat, I'll do that, because I'm not vegan. I'll add some chicken, maybe some fish. But it'll be like strip salad, okay? Or maybe a portion, but it's not the plate. The plate's not a big steak, and then you have your greens, your
Mashed
2 pieces
potatoes.
of lettuce,
Butter.
and your little cherry tomatoes. Exactly.
Butter and
Now,
milk.
it's not to say, and Cheesecake has an awesome meal. You go out there and they have what they call it, it's a shrimp dish with mashed potatoes and steak. Wonderful, go home like this, right? But the fact of the matter is, life is life. So I also believe that when your body's healthy, you can deal with that time to time. I use the 90-10 rule, which means 90% of the time you're making those salads I just talked about. And for breakfast, you may have a shake, you may have some yogurt and some fruit and nuts. It's always, every day, always healthy food. Why? Because if I put it in here, my system works better, and my gut works better, and I benefit. And you want to recognize that that's not just a benefit from today, for today. That's a benefit for 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road also. Because what do we have in America? All too many people, 60 and above, 70, 80, 90 years old, that are on at least 8 medications. You know, as part of our culture, that's part of the problem. But a large part of it is because of our culture, how we eat, and how we do things. Okay? So, but once a week, how will you want? Now, you're on program, Paul. In a program, then you can have what you want, but not on program. So once a week, you have something just because you want to. Okay? But what you want to do, what I encourage people to do, I mean, I'm a sold-out advocate for purification, bar none, for myself as well as for my patients. And really because it makes such a significant change in your body that you feel, it's hard to go back. It's literally hard to go back to eating that way again. I mean, you can, and a lot of people do, actually most people do. You just kind of let it trickle back in. Patient today saying, you know what, doc, I was feeling great. A week later, I put on 4 pounds. What'd you have? Well, I had my birthday, I had some birthday cake, you know. Life is life, right? But if you stick to the 90-10 rule and really do it, okay, you can still maintain great success. Because what really kills us is not our birthday. I'm also a big, strong advocate of birthdays. You have anything you want on your birthday, even if you're on the program. But the next day, no leftovers. Right? Why? On program, 90-10. If you do leftovers, you're no longer 90-10. And slow but sure, you're going down that train and put on that weight, or something not working well. I'm not sleeping quite as well. You know, when you do purification, you feel it's a really, really important time. I do purification, because that's when you want to stamp that into your memory. Oh man, gosh, I'm sleeping so deep, and my stomach has so much peace to it. My energy is up here. Gosh, you want to stamp that in your memory. You get to remember that. Because what happens, you can trickle down back into normal life, and before you know it, you start having problems again, and you completely forget how good you felt. So no. At least educate yourself. At least know. It's not that you have to eat well. You don't have to. You can eat what you want. But you're not allowed to say, why do I feel so terrible? That's not allowed anymore. Because you know. You're just not acknowledging it. Because if you feel like a Superman or Superwoman just by what you're eating, and all of a sudden down the road you don't quite feel that way, you know. You're just not willing to acknowledge it. So that's really, really important. So it's just all about knowledge and experience. So that's the weed and feed. So garden, if you that soil working good, then you throw the probiotics in there. And then we use an enzyme. If we have a person that has the biofilms, we use enzymes to break those apart. And then you just kind of reestablish that whole system. And then what happens? Our gut starts to work better, so our brain works better. We actually have less brain fog. We can actually think more clear. Why is that? Why would our brain work better if our gut's working better?
It's getting nutrients.
Yeah, what are we also making in the gut that makes the brain do that? Neurotransmitters being made in your gut for your brain. No, I'm not getting sick anymore. I have fewer sick days. I don't have my allergies anymore. I have less sensitivity, less skin reactions, because my gut's healthy. Why is that? Because 80% of your immune system is made inside your gut. If your gut's getting healthier, then you have a healthy immune system. Now, why is that important? Why is the immune system important?
Because it fights off infections.
You know, every part of our body is obviously important. If you don't have a heart, you can't live. If you don't have a brain, you can't live. You can't think, right? So everything's really important. But the immune system is crazy important. What's the immune system do?
Helps all the organs.
It's our soldier.
Fights off
It's
infections.
primary
Fights infection
defense mechanism.
diseases.
Yes, and not only that, inflammation is part of the natural process. And so if you have a healthy body, you have a healthy inflammatory process which starts and stops. But an unhealthy immune system that's been hammered by the standard American diet and that's weak, can't even pull it off. And so it's getting less effective. So the inflammation becomes out of control. Gallbladder gets inflamed, you get stomach pains here. Stomach gets inflamed. Your gut gets inflamed. Your back gets inflamed. back pain, neck gets inflamed, neck pain. Your brain gets inflamed, can't think, or dementia, or even Alzheimer's. So that's part of that process. The immune system is really key. It's actually one of our key systems in your body that you must protect and really care for. That means you must protect and care for the gut, because 80% of that system comes from the gut. So really, really important. So gut foods. Now, yes, we have recommendations for foods to eat, which are mostly fruits and vegetables when you're on program. We also have different supplements you take. For instance, for your stomach, we have a product called Zypan. Way awesome product. It's what can really effectively get a person off the purple pill or acid reducers because it's stomach juice. Zypan is literally stomach acid and enzymes. Now, it's important to know that we use a company called Standard Process. I am totally sold out to Standard Process in Whittier because the company started in the 30s by Royal Lee, a dentist and a researcher and inventor. And it's all about whole food. Really, we talked about that tonight, how important food is, right? So if I recommend a pill to somebody, 90% probability it's going to be from Standard Process because that pill is going to be for food. Animal or vegetable, but food, organic. So, that Zypan has acid and enzymes from food sources. Enzymes, the liver, Standard Process has a new shake called the SB Detox Shake. Awesome, awesome product. It's amazing, actually. When we used to do purification before, you'd do a thing called the SP Complete Shake, which is a lot of greens and protein in that shake. And then during the first 7 days, you had to get the liver working better. So you use a product called SP Cleanse. 21 pills a day it took. Now all those pills have been put in the powder. So none of those are necessary anymore. And so that detox shake is the ability to help to stimulate liver detox. And we talked about that also. Phase 1, phase 2, being very, very important as far as elimination as well. So it supports detox, has high fiber in it. And so during the 28-day purification program, you start at 1 shake a day, go to 2 shakes a day, and you go to 3 shakes a day, then back to 2, and then back to 1. Because you want to ramp up that detoxification process. But when you're on maintenance, 1 shake a day is good, and it keeps your liver working really well. And if you feel particularly toxic or things are, I had a fun weekend. I really wanted to do, but I did because I wanted to. Then maybe Monday, Tuesday, then a fun week, maybe went to 2 shakes a day, a couple days, clean up the house, get it working better. So it's a really powerful, really awesome product. That's called SB Detox Powder. And we also have some very powerful pre and probiotics. The probiotics we use are 100 billion organisms. It's like about as high as you can get, but high volumes of organisms. But again, what's required for a probiotic really to work? You have to have the soil, right? So the prebiotic's important, and more important than that, your digestive system and your eating habits. Really, really important. You have to be working well. So well, actually, we go back into food. So we talked about all the supplements being important, right? But there's a lot of things you can do on your own that don't require supplementation. So let's talk about foods that are actually good for the gut. So what's inside the gut, again?
Acid.
In the gut.
Oh.
Bacteria.
Exactly. And we want a lot of good bacteria, right? So what foods can you buy that have a lot of bacteria in them?
Fermented foods.
Fermented foods. So your category of your gut foods, your healthy gut foods, are your fermented foods. Yep. So you got what we have?
Sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Lower right
Kombucha,
hand corner blue.
kimchi, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, beet kvass. I never heard of beet kvass until last class. I looked it up. It's pretty cool. It's just actually beets and they ferment them. Yeah. So bone broth, vegetables, oils, coconut oil, fish oil, avocado oil, and these fermented foods. So these are all really good, healthy gut foods. So should you have that in your meal, in your life every day? A little bit? Yeah. You don't have to have a lot, I'd buy a thing of kimchi, it'll last for a month. It's a little bit, but just put it in your food. And they take a bit getting used to, depending upon what you're used to. It's a cultural thing too. Some cultures are just, especially in the Orient, they love those things, so they just eat them without even thinking about it. But for our American culture, probably a little bit more of work it takes to kind of get accustomed to those things. But I like them because it's, again, whole food. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Even the kefir. Do you know what kefir is? Kefir is fermented
With
milk.
milk.
So I'm not a big advocate of cow protein, casein. Causes allergies, all kinds of problems. But a fermented cow protein, which is kefir from a cow, can be a little bit more on the safe side because it's broken down by the bacteria. But even better yet, it would be a goat source. So a recommended source for kefir is goat kefir, which you can get at the down the street at what's the name of that place down the street? Down on Sunset?
Whole Foods?
Green Valley Grocery.
Oh,
Not
Green
Green Valley.
Valley. Trader Joe's?
No.
Natural Grocers.
Nash, I haven't been there.
Really good place.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. So what's our goal? So what happens when you do this in the body? What is going to happen?
Healthy body.
Yes, but what's going to, yeah, and that healthy is good, but not everybody does things for health. They want, I want something I can feel. Healthy, yeah, cool. Some people come in, I want an Optimum Health Doc. You know how often I get that? Maybe once, twice a year. Come someone actually walk in the door and say, why are you here? I want to be optimum. I want to be the best. So health is good. That's not really what we want. It's what is really truly health. What is it bringing you? What's the payoff?
Feeling good.
Feeling good. What does that mean? What do you have?
Energy.
Energy. So energy is a big one. Huge one.
Live.
Because when the gut's not working properly, digestion's wrong, you have a lot of distended energy doing all kinds of different things, and plus you're not even making the chemicals necessary for energy in the first place. So energy is a big one. So high energy. What else do we really want? Every day, what do we want? We want energy. What else do we want?
Drink good.
What's every woman on this planet want?
Good man.
A good man. I'm sorry, purification will not bring you a good man. Every woman in this country wants to lose weight.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Guys are doing
Right
it
now.
too. But losing weight. So weight loss is a huge benefit. Almost always happens. I mean, it has to happen. It just has to happen. Now, if you've got a hormone imbalance or something else wrong with you inside, you may not lose weight, but it always happens. Average weight loss on purification is 8 to 10 pounds across the board. Okay, so energy, weight loss. What else do we want?
Sleep.
Sleep. Big one.
Sleep.
And almost everybody that does purification, their sleep goes, that means it's good. It means it's deep. It goes, Doc, I've never slept this deep ever in my life. This is crazy cool. So deep sleep. Okay, so energy, weight loss, deep sleep. What else? What else do we want? Now we're getting good on the French. We want a belly that feels good. We don't want the indigestion. We don't want the heartburn. We don't want the bloated stomach. We don't want the puffiness. We don't want the pooch. We don't want that stuff, right? So that's also a big benefit. So improved digestion, okay? So weight loss, energy gain, clear skin.
Loss of depression.
Loss of depression, absolutely. Less anxiety.
Yes.
Improved digestion, fewer sick days, increased energy. So deep sleep. So you can see that this is true life, right? Having high energy, quality of life.
Yep.
But at the same time, we're also helping to reduce the risk for this. Autoimmune disease, allergies, diabetes, obesity, heart disease. We don't want to be up there either. But this is truly why we do things, right? And so, pretty much across the board, I'd say probably 98% of the people that work with me that do purification tell me they've lost about 8 to 10 pounds. They're sleeping deeper. Their digestion is good. They're off the purple pill if they were taking it. They have probably double the energy. And they just feel better. That's 95%. So, and it's not rocket science. What did we do for that person? Actually, it wasn't us. They did it. They got off the SAD, Standard American Diet. They increased the load of what? Vegetables to a major level. They got their stomach working better, pancreas working better, liver working better, gallbladder working better, and their gut working better. So it's not rocket science, and that created weight loss, energy gain, clear skin, increased energy, food digestion. Now I've also had those people that, I had one girl, I mean, it didn't crack me up, I was actually sad, but she came for her end of program conference with me, did an evaluation of her, and she had a list, I'm telling you the story, she's not more than 25 years old, she had a list of 25 different symptoms in this category of what we're talking about in life that were terrible. They all went away, well, but I think maybe 2. So literally 23 symptoms went away that were bad, went away, right? What would you think that person would want to do? In fact, most people do. When I ask them what they want to eat, what most people tell me is, you know, doc, I'm not changing anything. But it was an interesting conversation I had with her. She says, oh, I can't wait to start eating again. He said, it broke my heart. And you know what? So the symptoms came back. And so my point is this, the whole thing is not that confusing. And whether it's weight, whether it's energy, whether it's sleep, it's not that confusing, at least to start there. Does that solve all the problems? No, it doesn't. No, but it's a great place to start. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I do it anyway in practice. If you come in as a patient, you're a functional medicine patient, and I do a detailed history with you, and I do an examination with you, and we see a list of 12 different concerns or problems, right? So which one do we work on first? Sometimes that's an issue. Hormones, or we work on thyroid, or we work on brain. What are we going to work on first? I always do purification. Because purification may wipe out 8 of them. And we only have 3 left. Well, now we can decide which to work on. So that's really kind of the nature of my practice, how I work with people. So, but also because I know that the supplements I sell, the things I do to help a person are very helpful, very powerful. But the core is not the herb. The core is not the pill. The core is the food. And so if you're not willing to respect your body enough, when you're really feeling good, to at least try to do the 90-10, try to keep it going, then it's really hard to keep it's hard to avoid these things, especially in our country. It's hard to avoid autoimmune disease. It's hard to avoid dementia, diabetes, obesity. It's hard to avoid those things if we're just doing the standard American diet and not doing anything. And here's the I have a warning. My warning is this. After working with people for some 38, 35, 36 years, you start to get an understanding of how serious a person is, or really what they're doing. I can ask a person how you're doing, how you're eating, and they'll say something like, oh, I'm doing good. I know they're not. If I were to sit down and actually detail it out what they're really doing, they're not. You know, so I'm doing better. But no, you're not. If you really get down and detail it out, no, you're not. How are you sleeping? Oh, I don't sleep that good. How do I feel? Oh, I kind of feel not too good. So there's a huge difference between what we accept as okay, what we accept as normal, and really what truly your body can do. And again, I just, I feel like a full brush man selling brush because I'm an advocate for purification. But that's why. Because it removes all the doubt, it removes all the verbiage, it removes everything. And the person that really recognizes that embraces the person himself. So now next week we're going to teach, next week we have a potluck. So I love this, what we do. I like you to bring something that really is special to you. Something you like to share. Maybe a cultural food. It doesn't have to be on it can be on the 10. It doesn't have to be on the 90. It can be on a 10, okay? Not necessarily looking for any birthday cakes, but don't be too concerned. Now, if you are kind of want to go out there and say, you know, I want to make something like really healthy, kind of teach people something really cool, you can do that. But I really like it when people make something from their country or their culture they can kind of share this really special meal. So that's what the potluck's all about. And so that's going to happen here in our normal time, 6 o'clock. And then the following week, we're going to be doing thyroid, talking about the thyroid. And then that's when we kick off our once-a-month classes. And I'm going to continue doing classes until I've built up my library, okay, online. And so the sky's the limit. So if you want me to research something for you, you want me to teach something for this, both online as well as here tonight, send me an email, call the office, let me know, okay? And I'll do my best to research and put it in a form, okay? But I've got about 15 classes that I like to teach that we'll be teaching, so we'll have at least 15 classes online. But we're gonna add to that depending upon what your desire is. Now, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it has some kind of health connection. One of the classes I haven't developed yet, but we're looking forward to developing, are some of the most common medications that just make no sense. And how do we deal with that? Okay, if this medication might not be good for me, well, what's the alternative? What do I do? So that's one class I really want to teach. But just be thinking about that. And so if you have ideas, something you want to have me research or to teach, just go and email us or send a response back on Facebook or just let my staff know. Okay?
How do we find you on Facebook?
You go to Facebook, have like a search grid,
Yes.
type in Green Valley Chiropractic.
Okay.
That'll pull up my page. And then if you click on videos, they show all the different videos we have.
Good,
If
okay.
you click on events, they show any classes we have coming up. If you go on YouTube, also you can find me that way. So on YouTube, you have a search line, so just type in Green Valley Chiropractic on YouTube, and you can pull up all the different videos that I've done. And we also have a channel. Do we get the channel the same way? How do you get the channel? Yeah, same thing. So on YouTube, just type in Green Valley Chiropractic, and my YouTube channel will come up. And I want to thank Christian for helping us. Because I really want to have done this to get online for a long time, so I really thank you for that, Christian. I really appreciate that. Before we close for tonight, any questions on the topic for tonight, or any questions in general? Anybody? Yes.
What is the 90-10? Is that 1 meal a week?
Well, that's really good. So that has a bit of a story to it, because Dr. Furman talked about 90-10. So I was trying to figure out in 90-10 what that really looked like. My first thought was, well, maybe 1 day a week. 90-10 is not 1 day a week. Yeah, 90-10 is not 1 day a week. If you actually count
One
what
day
I did,
every 10
I counted the calories for a full week.
Oh.
I took 10%. Was that equal? It was a meal. So the 90-10 rule is 1 meal. So the 90-10 rule is have 1 meal per week, anything you want. Now, I don't recommend doing that when you're on program, obviously. Also, I don't recommend doing that if you've not reached your goals. So you have weight goals, if you have energy goals, you have sleep goals you're trying to attain, don't do that yet, okay? Work and fuel your body with healthy things until you get to those points, okay? If you need help, let me know. So we provide functional medicine consultations free of charge. I will send you a questionnaire and you complete it. I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about the systems that are strong, that are weak. We don't charge for that. I take 20 minutes or so to talk to you more about what I think you might want to do, and then also where you might get tested. If there's something you want to pursue, then we can go on beyond that. If you want to do purification, we have a program for that, where we can plug you in and just get you started on the purification program. So, all right, well, thank you so much for everybody coming tonight, and thank you for everybody on Facebook and everybody online. We'll see you next week we'll see if we might do some video from the potluck. Won't be able to eat, but you guys out there won't be able to eat, but enjoy with us. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be doing thyroid. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very